My guest today is the powerful and pioneering Jen Aks. She's a speaker, an author, and the creator of The Power of Gesture. It's a revolutionary body set practice that helps people reconnect with their inner wisdom through movement. Jen has over 30 years as a dance educator and somatic expert. Jen guides individuals and teams to lead with clarity, confidence, and authenticity, whether they're navigating family dynamics, managing teams, or facing other of life's biggest challenges. Her work bridges the gap between mindset and embodiment, helping clients process emotions, break through old patterns, and unlock the most aligned, impactful leadership. From the boardroom to retreats, Jen is providing a true leadership that doesn't just come from the head, it starts in the body. I'm so excited about our conversation today. We touched on so many things. Her work really resonates with me because I also use horses in my coaching practice. And once again, that is something that brings clients back into their body and out of their heads. So I'm excited to bring Jen to the stage and let her share her amazing discoveries with you. So let's start the episode. You're listening to Midlife Strategies for Badass Women, the no BS podcast for women over 40 who are sick of playing by someone else's rules. I'm your host, Sue Willoughby, badass midlife strategist, truth teller, and professional fire starter for midlife reinvention. Around here, we don't do fluff. We do real talk, bold strategies, and badass breakthroughs. Because midlife isn't a crisis, it's your damn power move. If you're all in, unapologetic, and ready to reinvent, let's get started. Welcome to another fabulous episode of Midlife Strategies for Badass Women. My guest today is Jen Aks. So we're going to ask Jen a few questions, and she's going to give us some pretty cool answers. Jen is, I recently watched her TED Talk, and it really did resonate with me because of my work with horses and how they help us get back in our bodies and out of our minds and why we've become so disconnected. And this is Jen's area of expertise. So Jen, welcome to the show today. I'm so thrilled to have you here.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm really excited for this conversation.
So as I mentioned, I did watch your TED Talk. Would you like to talk about your TED Talk a little bit and just and how you came to this work and how you're helping people with it?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really excited to talk to you about the horses because and truly not just because I love horses, but because I'm excited to pair our expertise and conversation around how horses can help us tap in to the body's intelligence. And
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to that. So stick around
Yay.
because that's coming. Yeah. So I had the privilege and honor of speaking on a TEDx stage in Folsom, California, and the title was "The Body's Hidden Intelligence: From Mindset to Body Set." And as a former dancer, I mean, I still go to the clubs, but as a former professional dancer, and someone who has really been in the education world for so many years and has studied a lot about kinesthetic and emotional intelligence, I really understand the power of the body and that there is tremendous wisdom inside of us that we have forgotten how to listen to. It's not that we don't have it or that I'm even introducing or teaching anything. It's really a reminder that we have this incredible innate power of wisdom within us that is real. We're just not taught how to listen to it.
Yeah.
And so this talk is all about the other half of mindset that we don't talk about, which is body set. And when we can really frame it that way, because we understand that mindset is that mental attitude but we need the emotional and physical information to give us that information so that we can create the attitude that we need to be confident on stages and to write the book that we want, or the curriculum, or do all the things in life, have good relationships. We need the body to tell us how we feel and what we want and what we desire, and where we're going. The body knows all of it before the mind does. So that's essentially what the talk is about. And it's really about empowering embodied leadership from the inside out in all aspects of our life, from, being in relationship or not. It's self-leadership. It's leadership with our children. It's leadership for our students, and it's leadership for our teams at work. And that's essentially what the talk is all about.
Awesome. I love all of that. All of that, all of that. Because, and I talk about, when things start to come up for clients when they're in the arena with the horse, you sense it in your body before it actually comes out. But not being able to, before the tears fall, before the fists ball up, before you scream at somebody, there has been a physical reaction because of information that our body stores. And when it's triggered, right? So when we can build awareness about our body, like you said, body set as opposed to mindset. And a couple other things came to mind for me was I had a guest on recently, and he was talking about, you can do all the affirmations, you can make all the vision boards you want, and that's great. But if you're not fully embodied in those things, then they're not going to happen. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you're just completely speaking my language. And I love so much. I mean, I think it's so fascinating about the horse, because I had an experience with a horse years ago, and it was so spot on how it created this emotional response and really
Yeah.
allowed me to receive this internal wisdom from a different perspective. I find
Mhm.
your work fascinating.
Well, we might need to connect and do
I
a
know, we're
retreat
gonna have to,
together or something. We'll be
raise
talking about
lots
that.
of our wisdom from within live stream. We're gonna have to talk about this.
Exactly, exactly. I love it so much. Okay, so
Yeah,
this is all fantastic. And tell me a little bit more about your work and
yeah,
how you got to, understand this. You said as a
right.
dancer, and by the way, I love that segment that you reenacted being at the clubs, and I was
Yes.
a club DJ for many years, and,
Oh
I
my
was always
god.
safely dancing within the DJ booth so that
Okay, I love that. That's so fun. That's so
so it was, that was my safe space to dance, and I always dance around the house with my dogs and do all that kind of fun stuff. So I love that
yes.
that little segment.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So being a professional dancer, and you have to be in your body to dance. You feel the music, all of that. So can you speak to that a little bit,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, dancing is a storytelling modality. It is a processing modality. It is a tool to of course perform and get on stage and do all of that, but it really is an opportunity to process and express what it is we're feeling, and the story is within us. And I go very deep with dance because it really did save me, as this is how it all started for me, truly, as someone who was disconnected from the truth, from the power, from the wisdom and intelligence of myself for so long, because I didn't learn the traditional way. And as a young student in a classroom where everything was taught through this logical, mathematical lens, I was overlooked and didn't feel seen. I couldn't, I understood. It's not like I failed out of school, but nothing was resonating. And I disconnected from that intelligence because I did not think that I was smart. I wasn't measuring up to what society defined as smart, which was all, wrapped up in the SAT scores and the IQ scores and grades and everything else. So it was very hard for me. I struggled, you know, it may not sound like a lot to some people, although some people say, oh my God, I had that exact experience. It is debilitating. Oh, you too?
I'll talk about that in a minute.
We were cut from the same cloth, girl.
Wow. It literally breaks my heart as someone who has come to the other side. And now that's why I do what I do, because I am here to help people remember the power within them and not get disconnected because of societal norms and standards and expectations and all this crap. Anyhow, I always had dance in my life, and dance was connecting me to something so much bigger. And I am so grateful for dance because it kept me somewhat comfortable in my body. Well, definitely comfortable in my body. And had I not had dance, I think I really would have spiraled into some kind of massive depression. And so dance was this catalyst, it was this bridge that allowed me to keep going and feel connected to something beyond the intelligence piece. But then later in life, in my late 20s, I hit my rock bottom moment. I was dating this guy, ironically, who was a Harvard graduate and Princeton undergrad. He did grad and undergrad. And I was like, okay, whatever. That's a whole other story. And he was really good friends with John F. Kennedy Jr. And one night he had said, hey, Jen, we're going to go to dinner with JFK, John F. Kennedy, and his wife, Caroline Bessette Kennedy. And I was like, no, my whole body just completely got numb and hot. And I was filled with anxiety. I read about this in my book. I saw myself at a dinner table being asked all these questions to answers I didn't understand, like literature, books I hadn't read, and politics I didn't know anything about, and our healthcare system, whatever. It was like I had this crazy thought in my head because it was JFK Jr., which was so ridiculous. But anyhow, that was my experience. And I didn't tell my boyfriend at the time because I wasn't comfortable talking about my insecurity. So I had my rock bottom moment where I completely fell apart that night. And it was just filled with shame and sadness, and kind of like I was just so upset at myself that I allowed society to hijack my life so deeply. And so
Did
anyhow,
you go? Did you go to dinner?
No.
Oh, you didn't.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't go to dinner.
Go.
Okay.
I did not go.
Yeah.
And so that is why I was just like, how could you? How could I allow this to happen? So it was that night that I was like, that's it. Enough is enough. And I started seeing a therapist and doing the work. And I found the work of Howard Gardner, who introduced me. He's a Harvard professor and psychologist, and Daniel Goleman, who writes all about emotional intelligence. And these two men did a lot of research and study and has taught and written tons of books about multiple forms of intelligence, two of which I resonate with deeply: kinesthetic and emotional. Kinesthetic being the physical body's ability to process and heal and express through movement, and emotional intelligence, our innate ability to, like what we're talking about with the horse, that emotional deep wisdom within. And that was the start of the turning point where I was getting reconnected to myself, feeling empowered, understanding that there are many ways, many forms of intelligence. And that has fueled my work ever since.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I also resonate with that. Now, I was never invited to dinner with JFK Jr., but very similarly, when I was in school, I don't know, I probably have undiagnosed ADHD or whatever I had. And, and I grew up with an alcoholic parent. So I was kind of out there throwing a lot of spaghetti against the wall, and I didn't like school. I'm not stupid. I'm a very intelligent person, but school didn't resonate with me, much like you said, that whole academia stuff. Here's how I would take my SATs or any other, those tests where you have to fill in the bubbles. I would make designs on the on the test sheet because I was like, well, this is way more fun than actually trying to answer the questions, which I could answer the questions, but I was just like, I hated those standardized tests. At Quit high school twice, not once, but twice. I quit in my junior year, and then I'm like, I guess I better go back. I went back, and then I found out that I needed like 4 credits of gym, and I'm like, I'm not doing this, so I quit again. So, having said all of that, and then not going directly to college because I was like, oh my God, I hated, I got my GED, flew through, that was no problem. But I just didn't the whole academia piece of it, I'm like, "Oh, I'm not gonna go to college and waste my money," 'cause, so I went out and started working and doing all of those things. And then, much like you, when you're in a social situation where people are saying, "So where did you go to school? Where did you go to college? Where did you" and I did go back to college later on in life, but prior to that, you're like, and because those are kind of judgy questions. They're social judgy questions. Like, "Oh, you didn't go to an Ivy League school? Oh, you quit high school? Oh, oh, oh," right?
Yeah.
Rather than and it makes you feel small, and it
Yeah.
and I lived in shame about all of those things for a really long time, and it's stupid. It's just foolish. So I think horses for me were like your dance, right? Where I was with the horses, they made me feel good. I had to be present or else I get stepped on, kicked or bit or, something else or thrown off. But that was that was my physical and emotional kind of connection. So I get
Wow.
it.
That's so beautiful. I want to invite a perspective that it was not stupid. It is not stupid to feel
Yeah.
the shame, right? Like there is tremendous pressure in
Mhm.
society on what intelligence looks like. It's everywhere. And
Yeah.
as a mother of 2 children, it didn't stop when I was a student, in high school and college. It continued as a parent. Where are your kids going to college? Oh,
Yeah.
that's my son's, backup school, that school that you're applying to,
And
or
you're like,
whatever. Like, exactly. It's all I mean, people measure and equate
everything.
and all of it to so much, and as we're talking, I'm really realizing that this is so real for people because now that I am really out there talking about this, I am discovering that how we measure our intelligence is is the root or it is a significant root of our worthiness.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
truly is how we see our intelligence makes a huge difference on how we see ourselves as a whole person in the world, in the workforce, as a parent, as a friend.
Yeah.
It's from if we're empowered with feeling like it's so powerful to say, I'm intelligent,
Yeah.
I'm smart. And when we can say that, we stand taller and we show up more boldly and we offer our opinion or we sit in silence knowing that that's a powerful thing to do.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I'm so ignited about this work and you know, the thing I'm really so happy about, and I do find it very fascinating that this was created, is because I was a dancer and because I have such a connection to the body and understand it so well. The work in how I help people unlock their intelligence is through my body set
Uh-huh.
practice, which is the hands, using the hands to unlock this wisdom, which we can talk about, but I'll pause there.
No, I love that. I think that's great. When I think about it now, I think, here's the other thing. My mom used to tell me, "You really are smart. I understand why you quit school because you were bored. You weren't
Yes.
motivated to, you didn't fit in, you didn't whatever." She said, "You're really smart. I'm proud of you.
Wow.
You can do anything you want." So those things were, even
They
those are
matter.
things that I wish she could have told herself. She
Mm,
had very low self-esteem and, with the drinking and all of that,
yeah.
I really wish that she could have felt that herself, but
Yeah.
she was allowing me and passing that on to me so that I didn't
Beautiful.
even though, it took me a long time, and I was gay when I was young, and I came out when I was 17, and, and that's a whole 'nother
this was in the 70s, there's a whole nother stigma attached to that. I'm like, okay, now I'm really not, worthy of, oh, are you going to get married? Are you going to have kids? And I'm like,
Oh
no,
my
no, and
God, you
no.
got a double
Right.
whammy.
Right. So I was like, well, shit, I'll figure this out one way or another. You get the idea.
I do, and it's incredible how aligned we are because I also had a mother who instilled that in me
Yeah.
as well, and it's all in my book, Your Body is Speaking. I
I
have so
love it.
many stories about her, and I dedicated the book to her and my kids, but
Beautiful.
she really was that voice for me to say, "Your instincts are so spot on, you're so smart, you're so," so I love that you had that from your mom too. That's a very powerful,
It
um
was very powerful,
yeah.
and whether I believed it at the time or not, clearly there were many times when I did not believe that. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, whatever." Um, but now I can actually embody it because of what I've been able to accomplish, and now when I'm in a room with people that are way smarter than me, book smart, whatever smart, I'm not intimidated, or, if I am, I'm like, "Well, I'm here to learn something," because now I'm a lifelong learner. I love education. I love learning no matter what it is, figuring things out. But, now I just when I'm challenged by people that, if I'm not, I'm clearly if I'm not the smartest person in the room, I'm like, okay, what can I absorb? What can I take in? How can I open myself up to what's actually going on and not feel intimidated by these people? So
How beautiful is that?
it took a while.
I know. We've had a very
It's not all, and it's still growing. So I love it.
oh my gosh, so amazing.
So tell me about how you work with people with your body set and your you know,
The
the
power of gesture.
hands and the power. Yes, all of that.
Yes, the power of gesture. So,
Yes.
thank you.
Because watching you on stage is a beautiful thing. So I will put a link
Oh,
in the show notes, of course, to your TED Talk because you really do. And as a dancer, as a performer, I think that, and actors and everything, you are your body is your instrument, and you have such a beautiful command of your body, and your presence on stage is just lovely,
oh,
and it's inspiring, and no
oh,
wonder you got, like, a standing ovation and or whatever you got there at the end of it. So, anyway, it
wow.
comes through on your TED Talk. I just thought I'd tell you that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for that. Um, Thank you. Yeah, it was an interesting journey to bring in my practice on stage.
Mm,
And so I was happy to be able to do that. So, you know, it's really interesting. So when the pandemic hit, prior to the pandemic, I had been working with students and teachers all over the country, training embodied leadership, essentially. And um, when the pandemic hit, everything shut down and I wasn't doing that work anymore. I was doing a different version of it, but very, very different. And our world was in a crisis, right? And we
mhm,
just like needed tools. And I
yeah,
knew that I could help. I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do, but I knew I wanted to use the body and I wanted to remind people of the power within them, that they had the strength to get through this. And what they had to rely on was their body's
yeah,
wisdom. So I started working with people on Zoom and I wanted them to stay close to the camera so I could really feel their energy and just connect to them deeply in that way. So that took out any thought of like doing big dance movement.
right,
I just was guided to like stay close to the camera, yet embody somehow their emotions so we could process them without getting up and doing these big, dance moves. So I asked them to use their hands. And we started, I would ask them to embody their emotions with their hands. What does
huh,
fear look like? What does, angst look like? Worry, shame, or even joy, or whatever was showing up in that moment. And all of a sudden these gestures were being created and the emotions as a result were being transformed. And it was
mm,
the most beautiful and profound thing I had ever seen. So I started doing research as to like why this was working. And I found a lot of research in the brain-hand connection.
Huh.
And that I mentioned this in the TEDx, but there's so many more scientific facts. But in each hand, there's approximately 40,000 nerve endings that connect directly to our brain with our hands. So there is this, information is on a constant feedback loop from our hands. We come out, when you think about it, we come out into this world gesturing. It's part of every culture.
They were like, "Ah."
Right. Right? We use our hands to help us process and express. And we
and
just
explore things when
explore.
touching and just, yeah.
Exactly. Communicate and learn. But we don't understand. It's so natural and intuitive that it's never really been broken down, at least in the way that I was learning about it. So I kept saying there's so much power in gesture. And I realized that's the name of my practice. As I realized it was a practice, I didn't even know what I was doing until I worked with hundreds of people during COVID. And I was like, oh my God, this is a thing. So the power of gesture is my practice. And that's what I do. I help people unlock their innate body wisdom, this intelligence within, by using the hands, which is a somatic body set practice, right?
Yeah.
And it's incredible how we can really transform. We have so much power to be able to move and shift our doubt into empowerment or our worry into calm. Whatever the emotions are, we can transform that energy into something that feels good. We also, through the practice, look at all of the emotions as almost like little people, like these parts of ourselves teaching us about who we are, what we want, and where we're going in our life. And that's where that embodied leadership comes in, to like really start from within, learn about who we are, get reconnected to that, to our values, to what it is we want, and then lead from the inside out in all the ways in our life,
And when you when you say that about the emotions being like little people, and then you said from the inside out, it made me think of the Disney animated film, Inside Out. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, right.
They're all there in the control panels in your mind, and they're like anger and sadness and all the I
That's
love that. I love
That's
that so much.
exactly right. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. And the thing is with that is that when we look at these parts of ourselves through that lens, we can show those parts compassion and love. And when, as opposed to shame and guilt and judgment. So when we embrace all of those parts, then they calm down.
Yes, they do,
Our
and if you
nervous
watch
system
the
calms.
movie, it's like and when they all start to work together and one is not dominating the other ones, right, then
Oh my God, I need to watch this film again.
you haven't yeah, I know, yeah,
I don't even
it's
think I ever saw it, actually.
oh, really? It's animated, it's beautiful, it's a Pixar film, and, it's called Inside Out, and it's about what's going on in this young girl's mind, and it's kinda like everybody has these, things, like, it'll switch to, like, the father and his little, emotional people going on in there, and they're at this big control panel in your mind, like, pulling the levers and doing the things, and
That's
it's fun
exactly right.
it's brilliant, yeah, yeah, it is brilliant.
Wow,
But that's what made me think of that, and then
that's amazing. I love
yeah.
it. More validation to this work.
Exactly, exactly, in a way that a lot of people it's accessible and they can understand it.
That's the key. That's key.
Yeah.
The accessibility of the power of gesture
Mhm.
is I'm so proud of it because almost anyone can do it.
So, let me ask you a question, and that
Yeah.
that brings up a point. When you were doing the Zoom thing and you said you worked with hundreds of people, um, did you find similarities in their gestures for the various emotions and the various things that were coming up, or were they just, like, all over the map? Like, I'm just
Yeah.
curious, like, anger might be,
Yeah.
clenched fists or whatever, but I'm curious to see tell me a little bit about what you experienced.
Yes. Well, the first thing is, as an artist, right?
Mhm.
I looked at these hand gestures as like choreography. I
Yeah.
I couldn't believe the gestures that I was seeing. they were so beautiful to the point that I actually, because I'm an editor, I did a lot with all of that footage. I actually
Cool.
didn't sleep for like 2 years and created these documentaries with the hands, but that's a whole
I
other
love it.
conversation.
Cool. I love
Um,
it.
so I saw so many different gestures, but there is a universal experience and understanding that I gained by working with so many people from various cultures. We were all at home, so like the globe was our neighbor. So I was working with all kinds of people. And this is what I learned. I learned that when we feel confident in our life, our gestures expand. Right? So we are opening up. Whatever the gesture is, it's expansive. It opens up. That is how we get into that confidence. And when we feel the limitation, the worry, the angst, the fear, we shrink. Our gestures contract.
Yep.
So it is that play between both. And again, not being afraid of the contraction, giving the contraction a voice. It needs a voice. It needs to be heard. And we need to know it's not going away. It just the volume might turn down a little bit. But it's about understanding and looking at this part too as an ally as well to teach us, because it's got a lot of wisdom. So that is the interesting thing, that no matter what, that expansion and contraction, and that really kind of simplifies so people can understand how to engage with the power of gesture. But beyond that, I've seen the most beautiful, like from very small, just hands on the heart, to, a rumbling with the hands going up like a waterfall, to like big, expansive gestures over the head and around the body. I mean, to just sitting, which like little, like mudras, with the fingers.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, and it's incredible. It's incredible what people come up with. It's a very creative outlet as well.
I love that you said you captured all of it and edited it into a piece of art, it
Oh
sounds
my
like.
God, I made 200 short form video documentaries
Wow.
with people's gestures. Yes. No,
You
it's a whole
clear
thing.
It's a
called
whole
the
thing.
Stories
Is it
Collect.
available on, like,
It
YouTube or
is.
something? Okay,
It's
on your
on my
channel?
YouTube. It's on YouTube, and
Awesome.
I think it's still public. I have to look and see if but there's about 100, and because people use these gestures as a way to transform, as a way to express their survival stories, is what I call them, really, survival stories. And I worked
Nice.
with people. People weren't just embodying their emotions around COVID and the trauma of that.
Yeah.
It became about divorce, loss of children, cancer survivors. They were all survivor stories, but the arc of it, and it was told through the voice and music and the gestures. And I created 200 of these things. It was
Wow.
short, like 5-minute pieces.
Yeah. That's great. I'm gonna have to check it out, and we'll
Yes,
put
remind me.
that
I'll
in the
send
old
it.
show notes too. Yeah, send me that link because I don't think it was on your
I
form,
will.
but, yeah, I think that's great. It reminds me also of, if I love watching people that are ASL interpreters, sign language interpreters, when they're interpreting a speech, because it's the hand gestures, it's also the body, it's like dance if
Yep.
you watch it, and if I'm watching a performance that has a ASL interpreter, I'm watching them rather than the actual person on
Yeah.
stage, just
Me too.
because it's so fascinating, and just watching some of my friends that do that work, and it's just so beautiful,
Yeah.
because it is storytelling with you, and it's mostly with your hands,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And their expressions, and and how yeah, I only know how to swear in ASL, so I'm not gonna do anything.
Ah,
Uh, I know some basic things too, but it's beautiful to watch, and it
yeah.
just comes back to that
Great.
whole storytelling thing, and it is just it's a treat to watch somebody who's really good at it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's cool. I want to check that out. So with your work now, now that we can actually be more than 6 feet apart from that was the other hard thing. I mean, there was no physicality aside from somebody that you were intimately connected with that was living in your house or whatever. I mean, not being able to hug people and not being able to, have those face-to-face, real human interactions was tough. It was really tough. I did a weird little stint during pandemic because I was in real estate and not a lot going on there. And I was like, I'm gonna go drive an Amazon truck because I'm that crazy. so so I was an Amazon delivery driver for a very short stint during the pandemic, and it was so weird. I mean, the reactions from people were just first of all, there was nobody on the road, so that made it a beautiful thing. But you'd pull up in front of somebody's house, and sometimes they were just sitting in lawn chairs on in the driveway, like you're the ice cream truck, they're like, "Oh, yay, our toilet paper's here," or whatever it was, but it was such a weird experience. But the pandemic was weird, and it took us a long time to come back from it, and I still think there's a little bit of civility missing, from that 2-year, 3-year period or whatever of
I agree.
not having that, human contact. So it was an interesting social experiment for me to be doing that.
Yeah.
So now, how are you doing this now? How are you teaching now with your,
With this
don't
work.
I mean, you can do it on Zoom, but now you have the ability to actually
Yeah.
be with people.
Yes, I do
real
both
time.
because it was birthed on Zoom. It's really very powerful in that way, not just in private sessions, but in workshops, in groups. It's really
Gotcha.
I'm so grateful that I have found a way to make something feel so connected and transformative over Zoom. I'm really happy about that. So I have a whole, thing where I've got workshops and memberships and work privately with people, and that's that. But then in person is absolutely beautiful. I do, retreats and things with
Yeah.
groups. And what's amazing about the gestures in a group is that we learn each other's gestures. So it's like we're speaking to each other without the words. Yes, the words are there, of course. We do incorporate the spoken word, but we embody the emotions with our gestures. And we're able to really share those gestures and learn from each other and hear each other in a new way. And there's always music. So it's very empowering. It's a great team building, like professional development kind of experience to have at work. So I do a lot of those. And so it can apply to women empowerment, like retreat kind of things. And then also in a company with a team. So I do a bit of that. And then I'm also now, since the TED Talk, really realizing that the speaking is just it's such an incredible way to get this message and this work out there. And to be able to interact with the audience by doing the power of gesture with the TED, I was only able to do like a little bit. But in other spaces, I can do like the talk and the experience together more equally balanced. So that's how I'm doing it now. And I'm just, very excited about it because I think it's incredibly important work.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that you talk about it being, like from a leadership standpoint. And
Yeah.
that's another place I'm gonna bring, who back in, the horses. Uh they're really great at teaching, nonverbal skills, leadership, because they're herd animals, right? And they're also uh they're they're prey animals and they're herd animals. So leadership is key for them and how they interact with humans. When we are in their environment, we are part of their herd.
Yeah.
And they teach us a lot. I mean, it's funny when you get like an intact work group in there. And this is another kind of question that I have for you when you're doing with corporate things. Like if they're bringing a work group to the barn, and people, I mean, it's vulnerable. It can be very vulnerable work. And here they are in front of their coworkers.
Yeah.
And the horse is bringing up all of these,
Yeah.
just things and stuff. And it's also their coworkers are noticing, right? So
Yeah.
it's very similar, like you said, with
Yeah.
when you're doing gestures to
Yep.
music and stuff. I'm sure that it's a little intimidating for people to be like,
Yes.
I'm not gonna cut loose in front of my, I'm just gonna do the robot instead, or whatever. But it is interesting because it does inform the coworkers, the family, the whatever the team members are, or the other group members in like if it's a women empowerment thing. People are either nodding, they're going, "Yes, yes, I see that, I feel that same way," and maybe, they're incorporating all of this stuff. So, I love the group container to
Yeah.
be able to I connect and have people realize that they're not alone and that they are experiencing very similar things, or they have, and I'm just rambling at this point, but I think you get my idea.
Yeah, no, totally. And the thing is, you know, I'm very much aware of that dynamic because I worked in the corporate world for a long
Mm,
time. I managed a team of 12 for a very long time in that business, sort of
yeah,
mentality. I understand, so I make it very, very safe. And we don't go too crazy. People are not like crying all over the place. It's not, you know, but more than anything, I'm very clear on why this matters.
mm,
You know, it's a very important tool and it separates leaders. When you are in touch with your emotional intelligence, you become a whole a different kind of leader. Your leadership elevates way beyond the person that just sticks with that logical approach to leadership.
yeah,
This is what separates the two. And so I'm very clear on that. So people understand, oh, this is not just, an emotional kind of woo woo experience. This is
mhm,
a really important tool. And as uncomfortable as I am, I need to dig in if I want to rise in my ability to lead, authentically and powerfully.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like you said, when you walk into a room and you carry yourself a certain way and your chest is open and and I'm not saying you have to, march in like a, soldier or whatever, but I mean, when you carry yourself a certain way, they're drawn to you, right? They want to lean in and be like, what is this person? Who are they? And as a leader, they want to connect with you. They want to be part of your, because you're embodied, and they want
Yeah.
to be part of
Yeah.
um, your your team or your whatever it is that you're offering. And the same thing, like you said, when you're on stage and you're talking to the audience, they're watching you. And like I said, even on your TED talk, I picked up on the energy. And I'm sure you have people as soon as you step off that stage, they're like, "Shoo," right?
Well, the thing is that yes, people gravitate to you.
Mhm.
And people trust what you're saying, which
Right.
is essential for leadership because you're connected, you're speaking, your vision comes from an authentic place. It
Yep.
comes from your truth, not something you read or something you were told to do. So
Yeah.
people can feel that in their gut and they trust it. And then also, as an embodied leader, we can hear other people more clearly because we're comfortable within ourselves. So we open ourselves up to hear the voices of others. We can have the vision for ourselves and hold the visions of others. So the leadership it becomes a collective experience. And people want that. They want to feel
Yes.
empowered. They want to feel like they're a part of the journey, that they're in it with you, that their voice matters and what they have to say is contributing to the success of the team, of the company. And so the embodied leadership, yes, you feel the comfort, you gravitate to them, and then it's really about what happens after. It's about the people trusting you and the kind of culture that you're creating for the organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that the leaders that, like you said, are open, they don't feel like they have anything to prove or that they're the only one with the answers,
There's no
that they're
ego.
like, "Bring it, I want that input. Let's
Right.
all," like you said, it's a collective, it's a container.
Right.
Let's all be in this together because we are. I don't have an ego, you know? I just because I'm the boss doesn't mean that you do as I say and you don't get any contributions. So yeah, I love that. I think it's brilliant and I do think it's needed more, especially with corporate America being in such an upheaval right now. I mean, it's just like what is going on? People may be coming back into the office, maybe they aren't. And then I think it just I think there's a lot of companies and a lot of leaders that are struggling right now to be able to do what you're talking about. So
Agreed.
yeah.
Thanks.
So as we're wrapping up here, I'd like to talk about your book a little bit,
Yeah.
and ways that people can get in touch with you. And we've talked about a few of them, but how you work with people, and I'd like to just hear a little bit more about your book too.
Oh, thanks. So my book is structured in a 3-phase framework. It's the 3E framework: embody, empower, and elevate. And just to
Nice.
summarize that quickly, the embody piece is about really helping people get reconnected to their truth. Just like I spoke about earlier, my disconnection story, of not feeling smart enough to finding my way back to my intelligence. So the embody is like, let's get into alignment with who we truly are and reconnect to the intelligence within us. And once we do that, then we can feel empowered. And so the empower phase is all about like, okay, great. Now I'm embodied. I'm connected to my truth. What do I want? What do I want out of my life? And how am I going to go get it? What are the steps I'm going to take? So that's about the empower phase. And elevate is now I'm embodied, I'm empowered, and now I'm elevating. I'm serving. I am now able to serve. I am that embodied leader. I'm able to lead from a place from within that is authentic, clear, honest. It is a place where people can that gravitate to me because I'm true. What my word is truth, and people know it. And so that's that elevate phase. The beautiful thing and the invitation around this book that I really love is that it is a cyclical experience. The 3E framework, it doesn't mean like, oh, once I'm at elevate, that's it. I've arrived. This is enlightenment. It's really not about that. It's about a framework that we can lean on at whatever stage we're in. So when we're at the elevate stage, we may all of a sudden go through a major transition in our life where we get off track, we get divorced, we lose somebody we love, whatever it is. And then we have to re-embody, empower, and elevate. And sometimes this phase happens in one day. That happens to me all
Yeah.
the time where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that I'm feeling this way, blah, blah, blah. I have to embody, then I feel empowered, then I elevate, So the cycle can be in one day, it can be in a month, it can be in a year. We use it all the time. It's a framework to feel comforted by, and it's very accessible. And the power of gesture is the body set practice that takes us through the framework at whatever speed, at whatever length it's taking us. Right. So that's the book. And there's a lot of QR codes at every chapter. There's a QR code at the end where you click on it or, you put your phone up and it takes you to a video of me taking you through the power of gesture.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it's like a multimedia kind of situation.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and I think that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Thanks. So I'm excited about that. So that's the book. And how people can find me is I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. My website is www.jenaks.com. And I have a free experience. I'm happy to give it to you for your listeners who want to experience the power of gesture. There's 2 ways. One is I host a virtual class every Tuesday at 11 o'clock.
Oh,
And it's
cool.
30 minutes and anybody can come in and just try the class. So
And what time zone are you in? Are you on
I'm
the
in
West Coast?
Eastern.
Eastern. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I'll give
So
you
11
that
a.m.
link.
Eastern.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a beautiful way to experience it. It's 30 minutes, complimentary, just to try.
Nice.
And then I have a digital, a class that I've recorded
Oh,
that
okay.
it's me giving the class in that format because some people would rather just watch a video. It's about 20 minutes.
Okay.
So either of those are a good way to start, or people can call me, set up a call with me.
Jen, this has been a really fun and insightful conversation. I thank you so much for being on today. And for anyone who's listening, go watch the TED Talk. It'll give you, if you didn't get enough out of this conversation, go watch the TED Talk, get a little bit more, sign up for the free gift. And if this episode has resonated with you in any way, please share it with a friend. Rate, review, I hate to beg, but I'm doing it anyways because that's how, people find out. More people find out about it.
Yep.
People like Jen are going to come on the show and give you tons of valuable stuff and help you live your life in a better, more connected way.
Yes.